Hare Krishna, everybody. Nice to be with all of you. And I'm happy to take a few questions and I'll try to answer them. So I've got a question here from somebody from Mysore. How to remember Krishna while doing day-to-day activities? Yes, that is Krishna's instruction. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmaram yudhyacha mayarpita mano buddhir mameva eshyasi asamshaya. So it's actually an art, how to remember Krishna while doing day-to-day activities. Number one, our day-to-day activities may be our sadhana activities. And at that time, of course, we should be very heartfully, mindfully, soulfully be involved in that. It's a struggle. It's a fact. The mind is very, very flickering, goes here and there. Even when we are doing sadhana, sometimes we'll be in front of the deities singing the song, the mind will be somewhere else. So it's a very sad thing that so we have to keep our mind involved in the sadhana. And of course, I'm sure you have all been hearing from Madhu Pandit Prabhu the importance of attentive chanting, which also Prabhupada emphasized, and one of the offenses given in the Padma Purana is to do inattentive chanting. So we have to be attentive. And even while doing service, you see, number one, the service may be directly, the service that we are doing is for Krishna. We are going out and meeting somebody, distributing books, or enrolling donors, or could be doing management. All of that is actually, it is Krishna's business that we are involved in. So in the background of our consciousness, that understanding, that remembrance of Krishna must always be there. And if we are doing, say for instance, somebody is a businessman and he is doing business, and how will he remember Krishna? Actually, by offering the fruits of the business, it becomes Krishnaized. Prabhupada used these kind of expressions. And so that way we should spiritualize. So it is a fact that when we are doing something, sometimes we have to apply our mind to it fully. But in the background, we know the result of this work is going for Krishna, or this whatever that I'm doing is for Krishna. So we have to be conscious of it, and in our conduct and other things also we should remember that I'm a servant of Krishna. I'm representing Prabhupada. I'm a disciple of Krishna. Prabhupada said, I will be judged by the way how you act and how you behave, because you are my disciple. So by our actions, Srila Prabhupada will be judged. So we should be conscious of this, and hence we should act very carefully. And that way, in the beginning it may be a struggle, but as devotees practice sadhana and keep doing service, they learn the art of remembering Krishna. Prabhupada gave another example, like a mother. She is very attached to the child, but the child has gone away to the school. She's doing some different work in the house, but different things connected with the child remind her of Krishna, of the child. And even while she is doing different work, it's always in the back of her mind, my child, my husband, my family members. So this is an art that we must learn to remember Krishna. It is for Krishna. It is Krishna's work. The result is going to be offered for Krishna. I'm doing this as a servant of Krishna. So all of these collective consciousness should help us develop that art of remembering Krishna. I have a second question here. In your lecture at IIM Bangalore, you talked about 20 concepts which Krishna developed. So, Prabhu, can you please share those remaining concepts which Krishna develops? Oh, wonderful. I can. I'll try to remember a few concepts. I have made a list of it somewhere, and maybe I can send, if you send me an email or something, I'll send that. The number one concept is that we are not the body. We are a spirit soul. Then the concept about what is the nature of the spirit soul. Then the concept about cause and effect, how it operates in this world, and search for the ultimate cause. And Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam points out that the ultimate source of everything, ultimate cause of everything is Krishna. And how that ultimate cause has to be a person and not an imperson. There are a few arguments that Prabhupada has taught. So those kind of things. Then the concept about Panchabhutas, how the material world is made of, the body is made of these Panchabhutas, and the three subtle elements, and then how the soul is actually the ninth element, and then the concept about Devatas and the position of Krishna. Then the concept about how do we get all this knowledge about soul, controller, the Devatas and all of those kind of things. At that time we talk about the imperfections or the limitations of empirical process of knowledge. How the senses have limitations, we are prone to make mistakes, and the four defects of the conditioned soul, and how we depend on another channel, another source of knowledge, the transcendental source. That's another Shabda Pramana. Then the concept about all the different kinds of Vedic literatures that are there, and how do we understand them. What are the Vedas, what are the Upanishads, what are the Puranas, what is the Mahabharata, what's Vedanta, and then what is the Bhagavatam overall. Like this, I have made a list of about 18 or 19 or 20 concepts. And towards the end of it, the understanding about why this world exists, and who the Lord is, and what are we supposed to do, etc. All of those kind of things. Basically, this is what Krishna is doing in the Bhagavad Gita. And then I just put it in the form of 20 concepts. And then people like to hear, in modern with modern education, to hear about concepts. And then I tell them that after we develop these 20 different concepts, we thread them together and create a canvas and create a fabric of what the world is. You get a certain worldview on the basis of these concepts, and then you look at the world in a different way. That's exactly what Krishna did to Arjuna. And when Arjuna saw through the prism of those 20 concepts, he understood what he should be doing. This is not just a family feud. This is not just a family fight that I'm involved in. The Lord is involved, and there is a larger mission of the Lord, and I am supposed to play a certain role in that. And that was a very, very strongly enriching and motivating. I don't know if any of you heard my class this morning. In the Bhagavatam class, I brought a similar point, that actually what Srila Prabhupada has done through these concepts of Krishna consciousness is that our lives, we are actually common people, right? We just born in some families, and we were having our own small desire and running around trying to maximize some material enjoyment and all of that. And bang, suddenly we came in touch with Srila Prabhupada's books. And then Prabhupada opened our eyes. And then we started seeing, oh my God, I thought I'm Mr. Whoever this ordinary Joe in this world. But then now I'm seeing that Prabhupada is opened up. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has opened up, that I may be an ordinary Joe, but then I can mold my life and dovetail my life and align my life with Krishna's purpose in the universe. Can you imagine? I have become I can become a participant in the Lord's mission. Such a grand opportunity, such a grand concept this is, that, just like Arjuna was actually serving the mission of the Lord. Lord had a mission, and he was serving the mission of the Lord. And that way we become part of the mission of the Lord. I was giving an example. I had a visitor some months ago, and that man was very proud. I'm part of the United Nations mission and something like that. if you're part of a United Nations mission and you feel so proud about it, imagine you are the part of the Lord's mission, under whom all United Nations come and go, and He's the United Universe, He's the Lord of all universes, and He has got a mission, and we are part of that. What a grand vision that is. It should be very inspiring. That's why Krishna consciousness is like a blow. If somebody is suffering from, I have negativity and depression and this and that, Krishna consciousness is something that can really elevate us. And that's the potency of Krishna consciousness. But Krishna consciousness is not theoretical. It is, as Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, it's pratyaksha avagamam. It is something to be understood by experience. Like another example the Shastras give is, suppose I have a nice thali in front of me, and then it has got nice puffed up puris, and 3-4 sabjis are there, and all the delicious, and then it is steaming hot, and I'm also very hungry. Now, how do I understand the thali? I can go on appreciating it. It's got a golden brown puri and this and that and all. No, that's not understanding the meal. The real way to experience is to experience the meal and relish it. In the same way, Krishna consciousness is not some kind of a scholarship. It is to be relished with experience. That's the whole point. So, Krishna consciousness has that potency to buoy us up and can handle any kind of negativity and all of that. So, that's the grand picture that emerges from the Bhagavad Gita, from the Bhagavatam. So, next I'll go to the next question. I'm sorry, I'll just take a glass of water. There is a question from I don't know who. How can we convince the current generation that this calamity is not beyond the Lord's control? Yes. Current generation, every generation, okay, especially current generation. So, you see, everything is under the... Actually, we are seeing this calamity and all of that in a very microscopic, myopic view. Actually, the world is constantly going through all these things. This world is known as Martya Loka. It's a world known as a place of death. And this calamities and death and padam yat vipadam na tesham, Bhagavatam is reminding us, in this world, every moment there will be calamity. It is expected. So, and it is all according to the Lord's plan. Nothing is outside of Lord's plan. Lord has a plan. And it is as we perform as human beings, we are held responsible for our activities. Animals are not held responsible because they act according to their intuition, what their biological forces direct them. According to that, they act, and hence they are not actually responsible. They are only expending their karma. Whereas as human beings, our consciousness is more developed, and hence our ability to exercise our free will is more, and hence we make choices, and hence we become responsible for this. So it is fully under the Lord's control. How can you see, I was giving the other day, I don't know if any of you heard that example. It's an imaginary real life story. Okay. One day I was in Chennai in our temple, and in the morning I was chanting, and it was about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I was hoping sun will rise, because in the eastern horizon I was waiting for the sun. The sun didn't rise. 7 o'clock, it was still dark. 8 o'clock, it was still dark. 9 o'clock, it was still dark. I didn't know what to do. 9 a.m. in Chennai, it is dark. Can you imagine? Then I checked my watch whether I've gone wrong. No, my watch was working right. Mobile was working. And then I opened the Google and then I started searching. And there was national, international news. And the international news was, the earth has stopped rotation. So there will be some portion of the earth which will perpetually be in darkness. There's another portion of the earth which will perpetually be in daylight. And there's another portion of the earth that will be perpetually in sunrise. Another portion perpetually in sunset. This kind of a situation because the earth has stopped rotating. And then international experts, leaders of the world, they're all talking how to make the earth rotate once again. Otherwise, and then some expert of agriculture is saying, this is going to seriously impact food production in the world. Food production in the world will come down by 10% because too much heat is not good, no light is also not good, and there's going to be, what's going to happen? On national, international calamity, all of that. And then everybody's thinking how to make the earth rotate again. Is it ever possible for anybody to make the earth rotate? Any world leaders, any world scientists, any technology, is it possible? Every moment the earth is rotating, it is under the Lord's control. And every moment we are benefiting from all these things. So like this, there are countless examples that we can talk about. There was another article. We see the sun. Sun is so much light and heat it produces, right? And we know from science there is nuclear fusion reactions that are going on. Because of that, there is so much heat and light. Now, there was one interesting one scientist, helioscientist, a scientist working on sun. He came up with a question. What is the decibel level at the sun? What is the sound like in the sun? Because we hear so much light and heat and all of that. And they did some calculation. And then they've said that the sound is so loud in the sun. And then they calculated, okay, Earth is so many million miles away from the sun. And then if we were to hear the sound of the sun, how would it be? And the calculation showed that it will be so many decibels. And then they said it will be so loud, it will be like sitting in a rock concert, loud rock concert with big blaring speakers and all. And then it said that you won't be able to talk to each other. It'll be that noisy. The sun is not all that far when compared to other planets in the solar system. But then Krishna made one interesting principle. He created, there was no gap, there is no air in between, and there's a vacuum there. And Krishna made a principle, sound shall not travel in the vacuum. And we got cut off. Such a neat arrangement, isn't it? You see how the Lord has done all these wonderful things. So sun is giving all the heat and light and it is silent as far as we are concerned. But it's not really silent. Imagine if the sound were to travel through from there. It's like a continuous perpetual rock music going on 24 hours. What will happen? We'll go crazy. We can't have normal conversation. And see, this is the law, what the Lord has done in this world and He's continuously doing is simply, wonderful. That's why one scientist said, actually science has helped me to believe in God. And science is actually understanding more and more things in science has actually strengthened my confidence and understanding and faith in God. So science actually has to reveal more and more God. So I think we should explain all of these kind of things and make younger generation and every generation understand everything is in Lord's control. And according to the plan of the Lord, things will unfold. And we should be ready to face it. And Krishna consciousness gives us a knowledge, not just knowledge, as I was explaining earlier. It's a state of consciousness. It is something that we can experience. We must come to that level where even calamities will not disturb us. That is why, remember that the confidence with which Kunti Maharani prays, she's in front of Krishna and she is praying to Krishna. Krishna, let calamities after calamities come. Vipadaha santu taha shashvat tatra tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yatsyat apunar bhava darshanam. She's actually asking not even for misery. She's actually asking for calamity. The exact word that you have used. the thing that the world is facing today. Imagine the calamity goes away, and then we go to Krishna and say, Krishna, when will you send the next calamity? I'm ready for that. You should have really guts to make that prayer to the Lord, isn't it? Look at Kunti Devi, she's making that prayer. And all her life has been full of calamity, one after another. And she has the guts to stand before Krishna and say, Bhavataha, and let more and more, Vipadaha, Santutaha, Shashvat, Tatra, Tatra, Jagadguru, Bhavataha, Darshanam, Yatsyata, Punar. Because she is seeing that the calamity creates an impetus for me to depend on Krishna and call out for Krishna. And if I'm Krishna conscious, calamity looks very, very insignificant. Only somebody who has come to that state of consciousness can have the guts to pray that way. So if we develop that consciousness, and what is that consciousness? It is coming to a transcendental platform. Gunanetan atityatrin tehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkhair vimukto amrutam ashnute. So these are the miseries, janma, mrityu, jara. Mrityu is that's why we are all worried, isn't it? The calamity, the scientists don't have a vaccine, scientists don't have a cure. If it had a vaccine and a cure, we will not care. It's like common cold, it will become an ordinary thing. But now those scientists have not got it, so it's a big calamity. We are very worried about it. So this consciousness is Krishna assuring that janma, mrityu, jara, dukkhair vimukto amrutam ashnute. It enables us to enjoy and experience that immortality, amrutam, of Krishna consciousness. In other words, we must come to the transcendental platform. It's not just having discussions and knowledge and philosophical understanding about transcendental platform. We must aspire to come to that. We must come to that platform. And how to come to that platform? Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. Yesterday in the Bhagavatam, or 2 days back, I think in the Bhagavatam class we were talking about. Here, this important word in this instruction, Krishna is saying that by doing bhakti yoga, we will come to a transcendental plane, transcendental platform. But Krishna qualifies what that bhakti yoga should be. It should be mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. It should be avyabhicharena. Avyabhicharena means not failing under any circumstances. Not, in other words, like Prabhupada has given the 4 regulative principles, chanting 16 rounds, and following these things unfailingly, that will elevate the consciousness to a transcendental platform. And at that platform, we can understand and experience Krishna. Krishna is adhokshaja. And we can understand him only on that platform. So I'll go to the next question. I'll be conscious of time. How much time do I have?
12:36.
What's the time? Up to what time? Yes, we have plenty of time. What is the significance of 108 in front of Prabhupada's name? Yes. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Ashtottara Shata. Very good question. Just connected with the previous question. 108 Ashtottara Shata Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami. That Ashtottara Shata, Prabhupada explains, indicates that this person is on a transcendental platform. He's somebody. This is a Ashtottara Shata is a honorific title that is used in describing a spiritual master or an acharya, and it means he's somebody who is on a transcendental platform. For ordinary people, that 108 will not be used. It will be a joke. So Ashtottara Shata is used for those elevated souls, acharyas, who are on that transcendental platform. And only on the transcendental platform you can connect with Krishna. And only on that transcendental platform you can have transactions with Krishna. Like we say, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Preshtaya. Krishna Preshta. Preshta means one who is beloved or dear. Vishnu Padaya, to be at the feet of Vishnu, and to be dear to Krishna. These are all very elevated positions. So such a Acharya, Ashtottara Shata, is used. This is Vedic parlance, this is Vedic tradition. Just like you would say in the court, you will say, my lord to the judge, or to the prime minister of the country, you will say, your excellency, or your honorable prime minister. Like that. This is part of the culture. Even in modern culture, that is very common. When you go and stand before the President of India, you say, honor your excellency, like that. You don't say, Mr. President, you don't talk like that. This is culture, that's the etiquette, that's the protocol that is followed. In the same way, every civilization has its protocols to recognize certain things. And in the Vedic civilization, the protocol of calling Ashtottara Shata to a divinely situated person is the culture. I'll go to the next question. How to maintain consistency in Krishna consciousness, the determination to pursue with great rigor always. How to maintain consistency in Krishna consciousness. So there are many different instructions that Prabhupada has given. If we are very determined, determination is important. That's your question also, the determination to pursue with great rigor. So determination is a very, very important factor in spiritual life. Somebody who is not determined cannot. Number two, also it is said that one has to, if one is fortunate to have good association, and good association can actually inspire one to maintain consistency, and good association can inspire. I remember when I was very, very young, maybe 30 years ago, I was a brahmachari, and when you just joined Krishna consciousness, one of the toughest things is to rise early in the morning, and then we are trying to, like Prabhupada says, that we're very, very fallen. You just want to, another 5 minutes I can sleep, another 5 minutes. So one day I was sleeping in the brahmachari ashram, and then one devotee was waking me up, and I was trying to ignore him and continue sleeping. And then he read out something from one quote. You know what Prabhupada says? Prabhupada says, if you are serious in spiritual life, you will come for Mangalarti on time. And then that sort of, in the middle of the sleep, he's saying, oh, that means I'm not serious in spiritual life. No, I have to become serious. I jumped up and ran to the bathroom to have a shower. So that's good association. You see, somebody coming and reminding us at the right time, the right kind of instructions of the spiritual master, that's good association. So if we have good association, that will help. And we should also be in touch with Shastra, because Shastra is full of instructions and examples which will help us to maintain that determination, help us to maintain that consistency. One other thing Prabhupada mentions, we should constantly be praying to Krishna to remain consistently on the spiritual platform. So Prabhupada says Maya is very powerful, the living entity is very small, the living entity can become overpowered and not easy. Maya, Duratyaya, is very difficult to cross over. And only by Krishna's special mercy we can remain on the spiritual platform and we can remain consistent. That's one of the prayers of Brahma too. When Brahma was asked to do the creative work, and he went to Krishna and said that, my dear Lord, I'm prepared to do this very, very massive creative work, but then I must not forget you. And then Lord blesses him that you're doing my work, and hence my blessing is there, that you will not forget. You will always remember me. So Prabhupada gave the example of the razor's edge, like Durasa, Uttishta Jagrata Prapya Varani Bhodata. Kshaurasya dhara nishita durgam patastat kavayo vadanti. It is nishita. Nishita means very sharp. So it's like a kshaurasya dhara nishita durgam patastat kavayo vadanti. Just like when you are using a sharp razor, you have to be very, very attentive. So Prabhupada says that we have to be very attentive in spiritual life. A slight inattention can cause havoc in spiritual life. So to maintain consistency, we have to be very alert, and we have to have good association, we have to be in touch with Shastras, and we have to be constantly praying to Krishna. Krishna, by your mercy I can remain spiritual and not fall away, and I can maintain consistency. And if we maintain consistency, we can come to the transcendental platform. And if we come to the transcendental platform, we can come in touch with Krishna. These are all important concepts in Krishna consciousness. I'll go to the next question. Please explain difference between imagining in mind and offering through mind. Okay. Imagining in mind. You see, the Lord, according to the Pancharatra, you can offer, the Lord can manifest in the form of the deity made of wood, stone, colors, and metal. And one more form that is mentioned in the Shastra is in the mind. So to create an impression of God, of Krishna, as it is described in the Vedic literatures, in the mind, and to hold that dharana, to hold that image of Krishna, is also a bona fide way, and it is part of it is more emphasized in Ashtanga Yoga, and yogis meditate on that form of the Lord, which they are meditating on in their heart. So, so in that way, to imagine a form of the Lord, imagine does not mean we do it fancifully. We do it according to the Shastra. Venum kvanantamaravinda dalaya taksham. As the Shastras have described, according to that, we imagine the form of Krishna in our mind, and to keep the image of Krishna. Or, very simple, if we have seen the deity in the temple, to constantly remember Krishna. Prabhupada also talks about that. When we come to the temple, see the deity of the Lord, we must capture the impression of the Lord in our heart, and we may go away from the temple, but constantly we must hold the impression of Krishna in our heart. So that's a word that Prabhupada uses. So we all live in temples, or we visit temples, and we are attached to the deities in the temple that we are connected to. So we must capture that impression of Krishna in our heart, and so that's a bona fide spiritual process. And then we should, suppose we come to a situation that we have some food or eatables or something that it is not offered to the Lord, but we are in a situation that we have to eat something, and in our mind we offer. So it is like in your mind you make a prayer that Krishna, I'm in this situation, I'm not able to eat prasadam properly offered, and in that way, please accept this. And Prabhupada also said that we can chant 3 times Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, and then eat the food, and that is one kind of a prasadam, or one level of a prasadam. So that is also a bona fide thing. So in that way we can offer through our mind or in our mind. I think we can also use the word offer in our mind. So these are all approved methods of doing the thing. In fact, there is that story in the Puranas which Rupa Goswami cites in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. There was this great devotee. he was in his mind, he was doing the worship of the Lord. He was a very poor Brahmana. He didn't have the means to offer anything to the Lord. But in his mind, he was doing this worship of the Lord. And he had elephants, and he was off doing dana of elephants to the Brahmanas. He had no elephant. He didn't have anything. And then he was offering nice garland. He was offering nice abharana to the Lord and all these things. And then he prepared in his mind very, very delicious, rich, sweet rice. And then he wanted to offer that to the Lord. And then he got a doubt. Maybe the sweet rice is too hot. Maybe the Lord cannot relish it. I should bring it to the right temperature maybe. And then, so thinking like that, he put his finger in the pot of sweet rice, which he was meditating on. And suddenly he felt that it was too hot. And then he broke his meditation and he found his finger was actually burned. So this is the power of meditation and offering. So bhakti, if it is performed rightly, that he was so really involved in offering to the Lord with bhakti and devotion and faith and knowledge and understanding, that when he touched the sweet rice pot which he was offering in his mind, it burnt his finger. So that's the potency. I'll go to the next question. How to change perception in mind for a particular devotee? Also, should I worry about what other devotees, not authorities, think about me? Okay, let's go to the first part of it. How to change perception in mind for a particular devotee. Yeah. It's very important. Krishna consciousness is not just that I am there and the Lord is there and I am my Lord and that's it. No, that's not the fact. Because in the spiritual world, it is not that we and the Lord. We, the Lord, and the Lord's innumerable devotees. So, when the devotee is in a state of consciousness that me and my Lord, that's called Kanishta. It's a neophyte stage. One has to come to a Madhyama stage and aspire to come to the Uttama stage, where one understands that it is not just the Lord and the Lord's multifarious energies and all his devotees, and I must respect every one of them. So, we must be conscious of these facts, and we must be very careful in harboring a certain certain undesirable perception about a particular devotee. So, yes, a devotee, when we live as devotees and we may have some kind of interaction which is not pleasant and all those kind of things may happen, and we may act at it at a vyavaharik level. But at a spiritual level, this is another thing that a devotee must learn. He must know that I have to act at two levels. One is a vyavaharik level, where I have to act dutifully and I have to act in a certain way. But then there is also an adhyatmic level, not just a vyavaharik level. There's an adhyatmic level, there's a mundane material level, and there's a transcendental spiritual level. From that perspective, I must always be looking at my life. And from that perspective, I must not hold on to anything very strongly against a devotee. Because if I hold on to something very strongly against a devotee, it can lead to offenses to that devotee. We have to be very, 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 very careful about that. So we should not hold on very, very strongly some wrong perceptions and ill feelings towards a devotee. And we should understand, okay, something happened, the devotee spoke like that, the devotee did like that. These are things that come and go in life, and we should not make a big issue about it, because we have to be careful that we don't commit offenses. And if we maintain a spiritual perspective of life, then we will be careful and not commit offenses. So, if we are careful, if we are conscious and sensitive to the spiritual perspectives of life, then we will be careful And even if there is some, at a vyavaharik level, some things are there. That's why another word Prabhupada uses, that devotees have to be an introspective sage. A muni means supposed to be introspective. So we have to be, something may happen, we may say something, and after that a devotee should introspect and reflect on it. Did I say the right thing? Did I behave rightly? And could I have improved my behavior? Because we may talk big philosophy and all those kind of things. We may do big services also. But at the end of it, how we behave and how we interact with other devotees, and how we inspire other devotees to be Krishna conscious, or we create, negative thing. Just like there is one materialists talk about this. Imagine you're in a room with a few other people and another person walks in, and then how do you feel? Sometimes the other person walks in and you feel, wow, so happy to see you, please come in, you may say. Or you may be thinking, oh my God, this person came now, what shall I do? So a devotee should be such that in any situation and should be his conduct, his behavior, his disposition should be such that when he walks into the room, everyone should feel, wow, so nice to have you here, so nice you have come. That's the kind of a impression. Just some days back, I was reading, Prabhupada used to have something known as evening darshan. And he would sit in his room, in his office, very, very informal. Many devotees would just pile in, and then devotees would ask questions. Sometimes there would be a guest also, and then Prabhupada would have just simple, freewheeling discussion on anybody would ask different questions. And time would just pass by from 6 o'clock to about 9 o'clock or so. And then fortunately, Prabhupada had this system that all of these these room conversations, evening darshans, were recorded. Actually, if you read them, if you absorb yourself and read, you will get the feeling that you are transported to that room in the presence of Prabhupada. It's a very, very exhilarating feeling. You feel like you're also sitting in the corner of that room somewhere and hearing this devotee asking questions. The thing was that Prabhupada was so Krishna conscious, and so he brought this whole Krishna conscious understanding. It was such a refreshing experience to be in the presence of Srila Prabhupada. And because he was so genuine, he had no malice. He was so always interested in the welfare of the living entities. And so he so nicely, and to be in the presence of Prabhupada was so wonderful. And and we should all pray to Prabhupada for his association. We all should aspire to, Prabhupada, please take me to your association. Because we see that it was so wonderful. So, can we create that kind of a wonderful, positive, elevating, stimulating kind of an experience when we come in the presence of other devotees about Krishna consciousness? Or we create, oh my God, this person has come now, I don't know when he will go. I'm going to be so distressed by this person. No, what are we going to create? So it's very important that we don't carry such wrong perceptions about devotees, and we improve. Even if it happens, we try to improve our relationship. It's a struggle. It's not very easy, but we have to keep trying. And also, should I worry about what other devotees think about me? Yes and no. You should not worry too much. And to some extent you should worry, because they can also help you correct yourself. If other devotees, not only authorities, everyone can help us. We should be ready to learn lessons from anybody, even from a stranger, even from a new person. He may say something, he may tell something, we may learn. I was hearing some not a devotee, some normal materialistic person, a supporter of our temple. He was saying some things, and then when I heard, I quickly took it into a spiritual life kind of a situation, I saw there was something to learn from that too. So we should be prepared to learn from every situation. And should we worry about it? Worry has two kinds of meaning. Worry is to become really, too negative and worried and depressed. No, we should not allow worry to go to that extent. Worry has a constructive impact also on us. It has a constructive part of it. Yeah, that, I did this and I must improve myself. I cannot allow this to happen again. I can't be in this kind of a consciousness. So, yes, we must worry in the sense that it should have a constructive impact on us, influence on us to improve ourselves. We should not worry in the sense that, I become so worried that, I can't come out of the room and I can't do my service. I can't think of anything else. No, I'm so worried about it. No, you are not worrying, you are over worrying. So everything has its utility in Krishna consciousness. We should accept worry to the extent it is favorable in Krishna consciousness. We should accept. If it's crossing the limit, we should give up worry, not worry about it. So in that sense, yes, we should worry or not worry. I'll go to the next question. Somebody has asked me that I should go on for another 15 minutes. I don't know if I have the permission of everybody, but I'll try to do one or two more questions, little longer than 1 o'clock. Can you elaborate on importance of matured behavior in spiritual life, especially in dealing with devotees? I think we talked about it a little bit in the previous question. There is one verse in the in the Chaitanya Charitamrita where it says that the behavior of a devotee, I'm not able to recollect the exact Bengali verse, the behavior of a devotee marks the advancement, shows the advancement of a devotee. So how we behave as a servant of Krishna, as a devotee of Krishna, as a servant of the spiritual master is important. Because what is going on in our mind and our behavior is manifest in the form of our external bodily behavior. It is manifest in the form of words, and it is also manifest in the form of our attitude that we manifest. So in all of these things, we should show mature behavior. Now, again, we should not become obsessed with mature behavior and I must maturely behave and all of that. Actually, we should not worry. We should really worry about how to become a genuine devotee of Krishna. When we become a genuine devotee, our behavior will naturally become mature. So, it's because, in the sense, what I'm saying is, it is a devotee. It is not trying to put on some. We have to be naturally Krishna conscious. We should aspire and desire to become naturally Krishna conscious. And when we are naturally Krishna conscious, automatically we will manifest appropriate behavior of thing. We don't have to put on anything for proof. So our internal struggle should be to become a genuine devotee, a genuine, sincere devotee who has no other intent. So if that is the focus, and if we are working on that, then mature, appropriate behavior also will come about. It is also important because, you see, there are two things. One is the message, another is the messenger. The message is, Prabhupada has given very nicely, books are there, Krishna consciousness, philosophy is there. Prabhupada also wants us to be messengers of his message. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants us to be messengers of his message. Yare dekho, tare kaho, Krishna upadesh. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said. So we have a very, very sublime message, and as carriers of that message, we also have to be genuinely, internally, spiritually evolved. So it's not just putting on something, It is not some, for the sake of all these things, we put on a certain behavior, and when I'm in front of people, I manifest that behavior very carefully, and I very carefully manage my movements of my hands and legs and facial expression. It's none of those things. Prabhupada was always just natural, and he was naturally full of Krishna consciousness. You see, and that's why another thing that Srila Prabhupada manifested, that should manifest in an advanced devotee's behavior, is the conviction. You see Prabhupada and his words and his speaking, there was his conviction about Krishna. And when he spoke with that conviction, that was so reassuring to devotees. That here is a person, he knows Krishna. He is in touch with Krishna. He has seen Krishna. He has a realization of Krishna. And here is a person that I must surrender to. That kind of a confidence that Prabhupada it would just effuse, it would just emanate from the persona of Srila Prabhupada. So that's a very mature, advanced devotee's behavior. So it cannot be put on. It's not some kind of a drama, that it's kind of a big drama that we're going to put on, that maybe advanced devotee. It will not work when some circumstances are there, something will really come out according to her. Just like the blue jackal, the story of Aesop's fable is there. This blue jackal was putting up this, like a very aristocratic jackal. And then when some other jackal was also howling, he also started howling, because that's his nature. And then everyone figured, hey, this is not some blue jackal, it's not some extraordinary animal, it's just like another animal only. So we shouldn't become like that. We don't have to put on anything. We have to be what we are genuinely, and keep internally working to become genuine devotees. I'll go to the next question. Maybe a few more minutes I'll take with everybody's permission. Now, if any of you are preoccupied with something, I can fully understand. You can log out. I'll just be with for a few more minutes. Next question. Is happening, life, Sadhu Sangha is happening with the help of technology. Kindly tell us use of technology for devotee, boon or curse, how to handle technology for the service of the Lord. Yes, you see, Prabhupada gave a nice example, simple example. He said technology is like knife. Shall we debate whether there's a sharp stainless steel knife, whether it's a boon or a curse for mankind? It depends how you use it. If that sharp stainless steel knife is in the hands of a criminal, it's a curse. If that sharp stainless steel knife is in the hand of a surgeon, it's a boon. Right? So technology is a very neutral thing. It depends how we use it. And if we can use it for Krishna consciousness. And if we don't use it for Krishna consciousness, there are karmis are anyway using a lot of technology, and they're going to reach out their message of Maya to you. And we are anyway flooded with all of those kind of things. So we must use technology, and at the same time we don't become dependent on technology. We don't become obsessed with technology. Or if the technology does not exist, oh my God, from morning I don't have mobile phone last 3 hours and I'm feeling shunyayadam jagat sarvam. You shouldn't be feeling like that. Okay, technology is there, I'll use it. It is not there, it is all right. We don't become dependent. We are dependent on Krishna, not on technology or any such thing. So we should become very, very free from all such dependencies. But when it is available, we'll use it for Krishna, for maximizing Krishna's pleasure. Srila Prabhupada, when he was in Los Angeles in the 1970s, 70s, what was the technology at that time? There was big mainframe computers and those. There were no sharp personal computers, laptop, internet, none of those things existed. Emails, mobile phones, nothing existed. Big room full of computers. That was the kind of a situation. So Prabhupada was in Los Angeles. I think it was in the BBT office. And then devotees took him on a tour, and then he had come to Los Angeles. Prabhupada, they took him on a tour and then showed him the technology that was there for recording his voices, and something on the computer and something on the television and all of that. Prabhupada was so happy to see that. He said, I'll just stay here in Los Angeles and I'll speak and I'll preach. You broadcast this all over the world, and devotees from all over the world, they can benefit from that. So he was very inspired when Prabhupada saw such technology. He was very inspired to use the technology in Krishna consciousness, in service of Krishna. Just like you see, it is said that Bhaktivedanta Thakur, at that time, the technology that was present during Bhaktivedanta Thakur's end of the 1900s, 1914, Bhaktivedanta Thakur passed away. Before that, so at that time, the technology, he had many sons, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bimal Prasad was one of his sons, was a young boy. And at that time, the cutting edge technology in our country and probably in the world was letterpress printing that had just come to India. You know, letterpress is, you may all not know, younger generation, and my generation we knew. There used to be the simple one cast iron, A, B, C, and they will compose that one and then put it into a thing, and then that's fitted into a machine, and that machine will print like that, and those kind of things. So that was the kind of printing machines that existed. And this started during Bhaktivedanta Thakur's time. And the most important thing when you do that is when you print, and then you have to do proof correction. You know, sometimes you would have put it upside down and this and that and all those kind of things. So you have to correct that and then go back. And it is said that Bhaktivedanta Thakur trained his son, maybe other sons also, in proofreading and correcting and typesetting and all those kind of, that's the cutting edge technology that was there. So our acharyas always saw that technology can be used for propagating Krishna consciousness, and they were always ready to do that. Because the principle of Yukta Vairagya, as given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as articulated by Rupa Goswami, that Yukta Vairagya is not to use, to see Hari Sambandhi Vastunaha, Mumukshubhi Parityago, Vairagyam Phalgu Khatyate. And that's to give up something that can be used in Krishna's service is actually false renunciation. And to use something in the service of Krishna, not being attached to it, but yata arham upayunjate, nirbhande Krishna sambandhe, yuktam vairagyam uchyate, anasaktasya vishayan yatarham upayunjataha, yata arham upayunjataha. As it is appropriate, we must use technology. And that way, nirbhande Krishna sambandhe, not be attached to it, and see it in relation to Krishna, yuktam vairagyam uchyate. That's called appropriate renunciation. Yukta vairagya, right kind of renunciation. So this is what was taught to us by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by Rupa Goswami. If you don't have that principle of Yukta Vairagya, you cannot have a worldwide movement. If you don't use technology, if Prabhupada had not used technology, we could not have had a worldwide movement, worldwide organization, which was part of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. Prithvi tejo yata nagaradi gram sarvatra prachar hoivena mora now. Prabhupada could do that using technology. So we use technology, we handle technology, but we don't become dependent and we don't become obsessed with it. We do it in a careful manner. One last question, with that I will close. Do viruses fall within the 4 lakh species of life as per Padma Purana? The shloka says, Krimiyo Rudra Sankhya Yaha. Does that mean that coronavirus is already in vogue in the Vedic text? Yeah. You see, these are different species as it is described, 84 lakh species. They all refer to different levels of consciousness. Yes, coronavirus is also one of the krimi, one of the things. It may undergo some virus and some mutation, and it may come with some new features. But it is in that bracket. So, like human beings are also in one bracket. It's a pretty large bracket, and there are many kinds of human beings in that. So it's not the word species is not exactly the science definition of species. In science, it is interbreeding is called species, based on interbreeding. So in Shastra, it is not exactly in that sense. We should be careful in reading Srila Prabhupada's book. There was one school student who came to me and said that Prabhupada says the moon planet, but we have heard that moon is not a planet, it's a satellite of the earth. So like that. So we should be careful when Prabhupada used the word moon planet. He was translating the word Chandraloka. Loka means planet, Chandra means moon. So we should be careful about these things. These are English words that science has taken and used it in a certain way. And when we say species, it's referring to different grades of consciousness of the living entity. And so, yes, in the Krimi, all these coronavirus also can come. Tomorrow, some other new virus may come and undergo some more mutation, and another virus may. It's all in that level in that state of consciousness. In that way, we should look at these things. And with this, I will stop. It was very nice. I hope you also had a good, interesting experience of this. And thank you all very much. Very nice questions for the devotees. At least it helped me and benefited discussing all these questions and the answers. Namaste. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hari